Hello, friends. It's time for another Azban story. Remember, Azban is the trickster. Azban goes crawfish hunting. Now, Azban walked along the Nulikigan River for some time, so he decided to climb up a huge oak tree to sun himself and snack on some acorns. But when he was looking down, he noticed a fish with flies all around it. He stretched and thought about how hungry he was. And he climbed down the tree. When he got closer to the dead fish, he noticed that it was stinking and full of maggots. Something out of the corner of his eye caught his attention in the water. Azban's eyes opened wide and he smiled. He realized it was a crawfish hiding under the rock. So Azban ran down to the water and put his paw under the rock to try and grab the crawfish. But as he did, the crawfish snapped at him with a claw and nipped at Azban's finger. Azban pulled back his paw, but was even more determined to get some of his favorite meal. That's when he got an idea. Azban put his paw back and trying again. To this time, the crawfish pinched him really hard with his claw. And Azban pulled back his paw again, but this time he yelled, "Oh my, I am bleeding! Oh, this is bad! The flies are swarming me! I'm about to die!" He took some maggots from the fish and put them in his eyes and lay down on the river bank with his feet in the air and his tongue hanging out, playing dead. Now, the crawfish stayed under the rock for a long time because everyone knows that Azban is a trickster. But when he peeked out from under the rock, no paw came to grab him. Just then he noticed two other crawfish from his village happened to be walking along the river bank, and he heard them talking. "Look," one of the crawfish said, "our great enemy Azban is dead." That's when the first crawfish came scurrying out from under the rock and declared, "It was me! I have slain the great Azban with my mighty claw." All three crawfish hurried back into the water and ran to the village chief to tell him, "Chief, our great enemy Azban, who has attacked and eaten so many of our people, is dead. Let's hold a feast and dance in honor of the great occasion." The chief was excited, but he knew that Azban was a trickster, so he asked, "Are you sure he's dead and not playing another one of his tricks?" The two crawfish who first spotted Azban lying on the back replied, "He is definitely dead. He is skinny, really stinky, and maggots have begun feasting on him." The chief was happy and asked, "How did this happen?" That's when the little crawfish who had been hiding under the rock spoke up and said, "It was me. Azban jumped down from a nearby tree and I spotted him, so I took cover under a nearby rock. And when Azban reached in for me, I gave him a warning strike with my claw. He pulled back and I thought he would go along his way, but then he reached in again, so I let him have it with my great and powerful claws. And then he fell over dead." The chief could not believe what he was hearing, but he said, "Let's all go and see our slain enemy. If he is truly dead, we will have a great dance over his body." As the crawfish from all the nearby villages gathered in the water by Azban's body, the chief said, "We need to make sure he's dead." He picked three of the greatest warriors and said, "Go pinch him and make sure he's dead." One of the warriors pinched Azban's eyes. It hurt, but Azban lay still and did not move. The next warrior pinched Azban's ears. That hurt even more, but Azban did not move. The third warrior pinched Azban's nose and twisted. That hurt them even more, but Azban did not move. Azban twitched a little, but none of the crawfish noticed. The third warrior then turned to his people in the water and declared, "He is dead! The great Azban has been defeated!" All of the crawfish came out of the river and formed a tight circle around Azban. They danced and rejoiced. At last, Azban thought, they are all within reach. And Azban sprang to his feet, shaking his head to get the maggots out of his eyes. He headed the circle of crawfish off so none could get back to the water. Azban reached out and grabbed as many of the crawfish as he could, crunching them under his hands and teeth, and filled his belly. Some crawfish had managed to escape. One very large crawfish had been able to sneak back, and he used his great large claw to pinch very hard one of Azban's feet. Azban yelled and out in pain and shook his foot. That sent crawfish flying into the river. Azban turned and began limping away towards the Long River, or the Connecticut River. He would be sore for many days, but he had a full belly now, so he would soon be ready for his next adventure.